Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass.
Hi everyone, welcome to another video on the JB
Hello.
and Millie channel. We're as always joined by Rihanna.
Hi.
And Smash.
Hello.
And today we have the absolute pleasure of being able to speak with Mr Boes.
Hello everybody, how are you?
So we are so excited to be speaking with Mr Boes, especially given that this is one of the 20th anniversary episodes for the 2002 movie. They worked on the set of that movie, creating some incredible displays and sets and things. And not only that, but they have worked on so many other movies, creating things from entire underwater cities in Journey to the Mysterious Island, and individual items like the Monster Hive for the second Scooby Doo live action movie as well. So many exciting things that we really can't wait to speak about.
Yeah, I mean, it is an absolute honor to have you here today.
Oh, well, thanks you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. And I guess that leads us on to the first question, which is about your background, career history, and that's how did you become a production designer?
It's a long journey. I think you know, I always was an artist, and I always built things in the garage, and I never knew I wanted to be a production designer until I saw King Kong, the first one, the 1933 King Kong. And it just blew my mind, and I just loved the sets, and I just started making that stuff in the garage. You know, my parents didn't know what to make of it. I had jungles in the garage and made apes and all kinds of stuff. And then as you get older, you just start learning about art and film, and it just led to, it seemed like the best choice would be production designer. So I started off as an art director, and I started volunteering for free for rock videos back in the early 80s. So that's how I sort of got known in the Bay Area in San Francisco. And then eventually they start hiring you. You know, you work for free, and now you're hired. So that's how I segued into it, and just kind of worked myself up to be a production designer. And I love it. I love it. I love it a lot.
That's amazing. So I guess that's kind of what I was going to ask is, was there any, movies or television shows that inspired you to do that? And obviously you were saying there's quite a prominent one there. So I guess more on that, would you say that it was wanting to be in the film industry that was the first kind of step, or was it that you were enjoying the art styles behind it?
I loved the way that first film, King Kong, made me feel as a kid. And that's what I try to recreate with all this stuff. I try to create the joy and the wonder and the excitement and the anticipation of movie making, and that's kind of what I want to give back. And that's just what's really true to me in regard to the art of filmmaking.
Nice. No, that's awesome. And is there a particular type of design that you prefer working on?
You know, artists like to try different things, unfortunately you sort of get pigeonholed. Like I did Scooby Doo, and then I got nothing but offers to do kids movies, and it started to make me crazy. And by the time I got offered Garfield, I was like, that's it, I can't do kids movies anymore. I want to try something different. So I segued into horror films, and they're much lower budget. But it's like an artist wants to try different things. They don't want to be stuck doing the same thing. So, I mean, of course, I love fantasy and horror, and the Tim Burton movies were fun to work on because they're really creative. But I do a Western, I'd love to do a Western, just do a weird Western. That would be great.
That's awesome. I think everything that you've created that we've seen is just so cool. And I guess that leads us on to the next question, which is, what has been the most challenging brief on a set that you've had, that you've been given to work on?
Most challenging what?
The most challenging brief.
A lot of times they don't give you enough time to do things. I mean, on the bigger movies, you've got plenty of time. When I do the lower, like the Blumhouse horror movies, sometimes you just get like a matter of days to do a set. So I don't know if I have a specific answer to your question, but I think sometimes it's just the amount of time you have to pull something together, and you've just got to be quick. You've got to budget it. You've got to design it. You got to build a model of it, and then you got to work fast. And that's how it works these days, especially now. It's a big deal, time, and not having enough of it.
Oh, that's incredible. But despite any of like the restrictions or anything, you have won some awards for production design for Sleepy Hollow and a series of unfortunate events. What was it like to work on those projects and receive that accolade?
I loved it. You know, the ADG award was one of the first years they gave out those awards, and I'm a really good friend of Rick Heinrichs. He's a really talented production designer. He was kind of my mentor on Nightmare Before Christmas. He and I sat down and built the Halloween Town maquette model, which this is a part of. I brought it to show you guys.
Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
wow.
Nice.
So that's a
Oh,
section,
wow.
and it's quarter scale.
I'm sorry.
So he and
Wow.
I built that, and he, like I said, he's been my mentor, and so when we work together, we love to just be the kids that I was describing, the kid in the theater, just be creative, and you have to just get yourself in that mindset, be creative. And doing the Sleepy Hollow was just so much fun because it was just go crazy, just do it, just build it. You know, we built the Tree of the Dead model was probably, you know, this big, and there was a forest, and there's this twisted tree, and a guy named Mauro Borelli was the artist who designed the tree, and then I built the model of the tree. But Rick was kind of he was our boss, he was our production designer, and he would give us notes, and he would draw stuff too. So it was very collaborative. And so when we won the award, it was just it felt great. It felt really great to be rewarded for that movie, because I think it's one of my favorite movies, you know.
That's
Creatively.
amazing. I mean, I guess just on those projects that we mentioned, a series of unfortunate events has been one of them. Something JB and I mentioned is the set design on that was so good that when they did the series following that, they just tried to call back to the original as much as they could with the sets because they were so iconic.
I know. I was on that for a little while. I was a model builder on that movie. And that's all Rick Heinrichs, you know, that's his design sense. And he works with a team of artists. And you look at reference of old paintings and old illustrations from the 20s and the 30s, and kind of mashed them up and kind of created this really unique look. And it was, you know, they had a lot of time, a lot of pre-production time to really flush out the designs. But some of the drawings they did that you never see, maybe you see it in the extras, but some of the drawings we had on the wall were just absolutely amazing, you know. So we would look at the drawings and then build models from those drawings, and it was just a great mismatch of different styles, in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 20s, and it was just awesome. I loved it so much. Anyway,
I mean,
should have won the Academy Award.
yeah, like there's a lot of things that you've created that deserve so much recognition, and even then, like I just want to like wish you a sincere like thank you for showing us that Nightmare Before Christmas model, because that's one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. Every Halloween I'm like, can we watch this movie? Can we watch this?
Yeah, JB and I do have a tradition where we watch a Halloween movie together, one each of our choices, and we've known each other 4 years, and all 4 years he has chosen The Nightmare Before Christmas as his Halloween movie.
It's so raw, you know. There's no CGI in the movie at all. You know, there's a couple of rod removals, but that was the first fully stop motion, all in camera, no CG, you know. So it was great to be a young man working on it. I was one of 100 people, and you just get to watch how things get done, and then you learn, and you never forget it. I remember every one of those shots, on what stage it was on and who was working on it, and it was just it's an experience that all of us that have worked on it just can't get out of our system, and it is just amazing. And to watch it all the time, like I said, it's kind of raw, but that's what's so beautiful about it. Things pop around, the heads don't move, you know. You have a jack head here, right?
Oh my god,
That's the only one I have left. Anyway, so those are replacement. They pop on and off in different expressions, and it just looks glitchy, you know. And that's what's great about it. I mean, some of the Leica stuff now, it's beautiful, but it's so perfect. You can't even tell, is it CG or what is it, you know?
Yeah.
But that's why I like Nightmare. It's just such an amazing, raw, visceral creation. And it was. I loved it.
Wow,
Let's
that
see, I got
is.
another one.
Oh
There's
my
another
gosh.
clay. You got a clay.
Oh wow.
That's one of the clay poles.
You're so
And
pretty.
that's the registration pin, and it sticks on the head.
Oh wow.
I gave all my other ones away. Sorry, guys, but these that's a registration pin, and it sticks on his neck, and then you can animate him. You know.
That's
Wow.
so cool.
I can't believe that. That is absolutely amazing. I mean, thank you for just showing those to us because again, like I'm about to freak out now. So I guess I should, before I lose myself to everyone, I should probably move on to the next question, which is, out of all the kind of sets that you've designed and all the designs you've worked on, does any of them stand out as being like particularly memorable to you, or perhaps one of your favorites?
I worked on a movie called Monkeybone, and we had to create a carnival inside a stage. And I don't have the monoliths in the other room, but the basically it's a town where you fall from reality down to basically hell, and so in between, this giant hand catches you. And we built a carnival on a giant mechanical hand. And I always thought that was a cool set because it was all on a stage, and we had forced perspective fingers on the sides. So when you stand there, you can see that you're inside a giant hand with the carnival moving around.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That was one of my favorite sets to design. It was my first big one too, as a production designer.
That does sound absolutely incredible.
So the metaphor is it catches you before you. It's a waypoint. That's what it is. You learn. Are you going to go back, or are you going to go to hell? It's a metaphor. It catches you. The hand catches you before you fall all the way down to hell. You know.
That does sound so incredible. That's amazing. And as we've already, talked about, you have worked on so many amazing sets, so many amazing design pieces. And something that we are particularly excited to be speaking about is, with it being the 20th anniversary, is Scooby Doo. So my first question for you on that, because we watched all the bonus features for the first movie as well, and on there there was so many compliments for your work, your attention to detail, how you paid attention to the color palettes of the cartoons, the shadow painting on the floors. And I guess my question for you is with all that detail and that care been taken, did part of that originate from you enjoying the cartoons growing up? Was Scooby something that you enjoyed?
Oh yeah. I think I say in the commentary, basically we analyzed the opening sequence, the opening montage is kind of the whole look, and I would go over that and actually pick color swatches from that opening. Scooby Dooby Doo, and then there's bats and there's all kinds of stuff that basically encapsulates the whole movie. And in fact, one of the opening shots of the cartoon is this cat dog. And if you remember it looks just like that. So I built this, and in Scooby Doo 2, this turned out to be Wickles' mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that was a direct copy from the animated show. So
That's incredible.
it's made out of
Beautiful.
cardboard. See, it's FedEx box.
That's
Recycled
amazing.
material.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Wow.
Or just cardboard. That's all you need.
That is honestly amazing.
So anyway, I used the opening montage as sort of like our marching orders for the colors, the mood, the shadows, the different sequences. And it was the show came out in the late 60s, early 70s, so it kind of had that hippie color vibe. So we wanted to kind of encapsulate that with the color palettes. God, I wish we could do another one. I'd love to do another one right now.
Oh, that would be amazing. We would love to see that. Like,
Let's
we
do
have
it.
been
Let's do
saying
it.
that we want something to be done for the 20th anniversary, and another movie would be like ideal.
I don't know if the studio wants to, but whatever. Well, I had a great time. It was fun.
I guess more on like potential Scooby projects or things you would enjoy working on. Do you remember if watching the Scooby Doo cartoons growing up, if there was ever a set that you saw in one of them that you were like, I'd like to redesign that or work on that? Was there any that were prominent to you?
There's so many great ones. There's one where there's like an old ship that's in the fog, and there's skeletons and stuff, and I love those.
Yep.
Those ones were great. And some of the ones where their carnival was torn down, you know, and it was not working anymore. They had such a great style to them, you know, and the shadows and the lighting and stuff. So they're very graphic, but I guess probably the ship and the carnival, I guess, is what I remember. There's so many of them. We looked at a lot of them, but those are great. Super moody and spooky, you know.
Yeah, those are great examples to kind of go off by, especially get in like a mood for the set. But going more into going a little more into the first film, how did this opportunity come about for you to do the set for it?
The director, Raja Gosnell, hired me to do Fantastic Four back in 1999. I had done Monkeybone, that was my first movie as a designer. And then I met Raja Gosnell and he hired me to do Fantastic Four, the first version of it. And I was a young man and he was directing and we were in pre-production. And then I guess X-Men came out and then Fox decided not to do Fantastic Four. So Raja immediately got Scooby Doo and I said, dude, I'm all over that. I want to work on that with you. So he hired me to do Scooby Doo. And the next thing you know, we're on a 747 flying to Sydney, Australia. That's where we shot it. Actually,
that's awesome.
The Gold Coast is actually where we shot it. But I've known Raja for 20 years. I worked with him on 5 or 6 movies. You know, in fact, I just talked to him the other night. He's just a good friend. So he hires me whenever he's working. That's a good thing.
Nice. That's great.
In the movie biz. Yeah.
So besides like you know, I guess the sets and production in general, did you have any kind of input on like say vehicles, like how the Mystery Machine would look, or like they did the plane with the spooky island?
Yep, all of them. Production designer touches everything you see. There were even some golf carts that we manipulated. We just got the golf carts and put faces on them, and there's a tail on one of the the 3-wheelers. But the plane was all CG. The exterior of it was all computer generated. So we just gave the visual effects, the artwork to skin the plane. But as far as the Mystery Machine goes, you know, Chuck Roven was our producer. He had a lot to do with that. And it's an iconic vehicle. And I remember they tried to sell us in Australia some kind of van that just didn't look like the Mystery Machine. They said, these are everywhere. There's our Holdens, I think they were called. And we were just like, it doesn't look like a Chevy van. It's supposed to look like an old Chevy van. So we finally found a beat up Holden that sort of looked like a boxy Mystery Machine, but it's a right-hand drive. And it's America. We got to make it, it's got to be on the left. The steering wheel has to be on the left. I mean, we even talked about shooting it like the Titanic and just flopping it, but it just seemed problematic. So the special effects guys basically had to rig the steering wheel over to the left side. That took like weeks. They were just like, that was an amazing engineering feat. And once that happened, you know, we designed the exterior graphics. We kind of updated them a little bit, but they're iconic. They've got to look like what they're very memorable. So we had an auto paint shop paint it for us. And then we dressed the inside like you see in the movie. You know, it's Shaggy's little van. He's sitting in there getting stoned or whatever he's doing, you know?
Yeah.
Hot dogs or whatever. But yeah, that was definitely, we were definitely involved in that. Lots of sketches, lots of drawings. I think we even did a model of the inside of the van to show. I always love models because you can see it, you know? Some people do models in the computer, but I actually like to build them myself.
I mean, it's great that you do, because
I
it's led
some of
to
my stuff over here to go, oh, look at this. Like, this is
I mean, it's led to obviously you having this amazing kind of showroom of different things that you worked on, and it's incredible. You don't have that with a computer. It's kind of like a file just gets put to the side and never recalled.
It really helps me. Like this is falling apart. Like, bear with me here, guys. This was from Monkeybone. Oh God, he's about to fall apart. Let's see if you can see him.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
Oh, wow.
So
That's-
he's a bike messenger, Reaper, a Grim Reaper, right? So he's a Grim Reaper. The wings flapped, and the cattle catcher catches people in reality, like they can come out of the sky at any minute, scoop you up, and take you down to hell. You know. And in the script, it was described as like a winged demon that came to get you. So the director and I said, Henry Selick, the director, said, let's make them bike messengers. I'm like, okay. You know, he's got a little bike messenger bag on him, and he works in hell, and he comes and gets you and scoops you up. See?
Oh, wow.
And flies you down to hell. Anyway, he's falling apart. But that was basically one night me just going to Toys R Us and getting a Barbie doll and just started gluing stuff together, and then that's how that came about. There were no sketches, it was just that model, and we give that to the fabricators to make. So personally, me, I love making the models. It's you can work out all your problems 3D, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It is so
That's-
amazing that you work that way, because it's just amazing to see these things.
that's
It's an old
amazing.
dying thing, and a lot of people don't do it anymore, but it's great for meetings. It's just sitting there on the table. You come in, there it is. People get it. I got it. Done. Move on. Let's do it. You know. So
I absolutely like. I think all of us love your passion because your attention to detail and everything, and it's shown all throughout like the movie itself and like all the different productions that you've worked on. It comes across like in your work. You get the finer details. And my brother, he's always wanted to get into doing like models and scale figures and things like that to try and mess around with because he loves like the physicality of it and seeing what he can do. So when he watches this interview, he's going to be really intrigued and he's probably going to pause it and looking really closely because he loves a lot of your work as well.
just have them build a set. Just build a model of some. Make it up. Do some weird alien factory or something, and it'll just sit on the table, and you could build everything. I mean, I just love to start off with limited information and just go see where your brain takes you. You know.
Yeah.
Like I said, the materials are cheap. The FedEx boxes, cardboard, the whole thing. It's just build it. You know, they don't last very long, but they're quick. The cardboard cuts really quick. The foam core dulls the blades. But anyway, that's a little tip if you want to make money.
I'll definitely pass that on to him. And you know, speaking of like the bonus features, we loved seeing your feature in the Scary Places Scooby Doo bonus features. And do you remember at what point in the filming process were these bonus features filmed?
I think we were shooting, you know. I think they were on another stage, and then they said, let's go over to the other stage and shoot your little interview. And they were interviewing as we were going along, you know. We were on location, we were at the factory, and I think I just sort of stepped away for a minute to shoot the interview on the set. Yeah.
And are there any scenes that you remember filming and talking about for the bonus features that didn't end up being used?
I'm trying to remember. Oh, there was one with Velma dancing, some sexy dance she was doing, and Linda Cardellini was mad at me because it was the only thing available to shoot. There was some scheduling problem, and it's not in the movie. I think it's in the extras, but there was like some steam bath where she's dancing sexy. I think it definitely got cut, but it might be in some of the extras. But I can't remember any other stuff that really got cut. I think it's all in there, you know.
Okay, thank you so much. That's incredible. And of course, just like hearing about you on the set, it just brings back so many memories from childhood. And I say memories, but I do watch the movie quite a lot. And so in terms of like all the kind of different areas and different like aspects of the set, I wanted to ask, did you design the Spooky Island kind of skull disco ball? And if so, were there any limitations on that, given that it was so integral to the plot?
Point in the middle of the bar, it's got mirrors on it. It's like a disco ball, but I was like, we're not doing a regular disco ball. We're doing a skull, or we're gonna do something. So the guys were drawing some weird stuff, and I was like, great, let's just do that. So it's just got spikes on it. It's a skull, and someone actually built it with pieces of, I think it was plexiglass, little pieces of reflective plexiglass. And it was just sort of, I think it starts off the shot. We start on it and then we kind of come down. It just sort of sets the mood for what kind of movie you're going to be watching.
It is amazing. And then they kind of call back to it at the end as well when they use it to reflect the sun and stuff. So it ties into the story well as well.
Thank you. And
it was supposed to just be a disco ball. It was
yeah,
supposed to be a disco ball, but we turned it into something else. I can never just let it go out the door as just a regular thing. It's got to have something weird about it. That's
See, I think
my motto.
I think with this movie, just because there's been so many things that's made to be iconic, like you were saying, not just accepting this round disco ball, but making it a skull and something there's so much merchandise for this movie based on all those iconic things, like the meat wall where Scooby and Shaggy get pinned against. There's a toy that's just that meat wall because it's iconic. There's just so many things.
Oh, there
Wall of
was
meat. I remember that.
I should have brought stuff over. I should have brought stuff over, really, but
sausages, the strangling those guys. That was a weird thing to come in. They're shooting it like, okay, wall of meat.
And then they decided to make a figure of that, just that wall.
Well,
just
and
because
it
it's so
came
iconic.
with the spooky jester as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna get it. Do you want to ask my next question?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
Juby's gonna go and find that. The next question was, of all the sets you designed for the movie, do you have one that was your favorite?
I don't know. I read the question. I'm not sure. I mean, I love the big cave. That was fun for me. And it's like, how do you design a cave that just looks different, you know? And again, it's always like I always wanted to do something that you've never seen before. And we just had these stalactites coming in at an angle, and we put the sand down. I don't know. That was fun to make. It was fun to watch it go up. They were like blowing the texture on the wires. They were doing it. It was a huge set.
And I also was looking that in some of the bonus features, a lot of the cast like complimenting how amazing it was to work on the sets that you'd made. And I know you were speaking about working on set as well. Was there anyone that you particularly enjoyed working alongside, any of the crew or cast?
The cast were great. Linda Cardellini was just starting out. We were kind of buddies. Visual effects supervisor Peter Crossman, still a really good friend of mine. He worked on it. The producers are really nice. We all had a great time. We were Americans in Australia, so we were kind of a group, and we would go out and, you know, go to Raj's house and have a barbecue. And it was great because when we left, it was summer in America, and then we got to Australia and it was turning into summer. So I had like a year and a half of endless summer. You know, that was amazing. So lots of barbecues. We were on a beach, so it was fun to party with everybody. And we were like a family. It was fun. It was great. Good memories.
That's amazing. And
that's
I guess
why we should do it again.
Yeah, definitely do another one.
This is I don't know how well you can see this because it's like all protected and stuff, but
that's how they made the wall of meat toy.
Oh gosh.
That is the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. As an action figure.
Yeah, it's just like weird. A wall of meat and jester.
Just your basic wall of meat. Yeah. Very weird.
I guess more you were saying about the memories and things. Do you have any stories from being on set? Anything that you particularly enjoyed or anything?
You know, working in Australia for the first time was interesting. I'd never worked in the metric system, and I wasn't ready for it. You know, because we designed all the sets in America using the imperial method, which is everybody uses, and then I brought the drawings, the working drawings, to Australia, and the guys started building off of it. And I think it was 1/4 equals an inch is the scale we use usually here. And when we went to Australia, I think it's 1 to 50 or 1 to 100. I can't remember what it is, but it was close enough. So the guys were like, well, let's just build from these. Well, it's way off. It's not anything close to what we wanted. The doorways were 7 feet tall. They were way too big. So that was a major mistake. So that was just the guys going off the wrong side. So that was a big wake-up call for me. So I had to get a scale that translated the imperial into the metric. And I think it's a much better system. I don't know why we don't use it here. I think it's much better. That's what I learned on the movie. And so we drew everything in the metric system. So that was a big deal. And also every day after work, everybody would watch me. I'd get in the wrong side of the car, go home. Every day. They're in there laughing at me all the time. Easy to do.
I'd probably do the same, honestly.
So, I'm not thinking because you're working,
Yeah.
I go around to the left side and get in and go, where's the steering wheel? Okay. That was fun. That was fun for me.
So we had briefly brought up that this movie had been very edited after a test screening, got a lot of negative feedback, but do you remember if there were any designs that you had done that either were taken out or had to be changed due to these edits?
I don't think so. There was a stunt on top of the volcano. I think we needed to make that bigger. That was something that needed to happen. There was a whole karate kick sequence on top of the volcano. That needed to be altered a little bit. I think we had time to do it, so we changed that. But I don't remember. There was some post stuff. I was on another movie, and so the post stuff was done by a visual effects house in town in Los Angeles here, and they added some of the roller coaster stuff. I wasn't around when they did that, so but yeah, nothing major that we had to change that I remember at this point.
Yeah, like I know that speaking to Kent Bader, there were quite a few scenes that were cut out of the movie involving the spooky demons infiltrating the Pentagon, but again, I'd imagine that the Pentagon was probably quite accurate.
Yeah, I guess there was some. They were afraid the religious people were going to freak out about the demons, and then we called them the daemons for some reason. These guys.
Yeah, they become creatures.
Yeah.
Holy.
Oh, that's
In
beautiful.
in the script, it's described as these demon creatures, and then and throughout the whole movie, they're referring to them as demons because they're demons. And then, there you go. All right.
Oh my
And
God.
it's funny too. I actually have this picture right here. This is the first sketch we did. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but this was the first sketch we did of the demons.
Wow.
I thought rocked. I thought they were the best thing I've ever
Yeah.
Yeah.
seen. Artist Mike Catrella did this for me, and I thought we were done, but Raja, the director, said those are too scary for kids, and I was like, let's scare them. So we changed
True.
them to this. So I guess these are less scary. I don't know. I don't see the difference. I like the first one better.
Wow.
That's
There was a
amazing.
big deal about the demon, getting rid of the word demon, getting rid of the word.
Yeah.
Demon. That was too, for the religious people, I guess. It did seem silly to me, but maybe some of that, it just doesn't make any sense.
I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but that picture reminds me of one of the demons from 13 Ghosts.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't remember his name at the moment, but anyway,
Okay.
random.
Random thought. Yeah.
Random thought of the day. So eventually there had become rides that were inspired by Spooky Island in the movie in Australia. Did you have any input on that, or was that
They
completely?
started that as we were wrapping,
Mm.
and the old ride was oh my God, I can't remember, the teddy bear ride or something at Movie World. It was something so cheesy and hokey and silly. It was, I can't remember the name, but I went on the ride before they changed it. They basically gutted the whole thing and did our ride. But it was the Huggy Bears, or I don't know what, but it was the stupidest ride I'd ever seen. So they basically started taking props from our movie and putting them in the new ride. So a lot of our real props are in there. It's like some ghost figures that
Nice.
pop up and stuff. I never had a chance to go into the final one because I was gone by the time they finished it. But yeah, and then
I'll take
they
it.
took drawings off our walls and kind of were inspired. And I think the track was the same track from the bear ride, whatever it was, and they just added Scooby Doo stuff. Is it still there? No, it must be gone.
I think they revamped it relatively recently, but it's still Scooby themed, if I'm not mistaken.
Lynn Benzie, she runs the whole studio and the park. She'd be the one to ask. She was really nice. She helped me a lot, but she runs the stages and the amusement park. So I should email her to see if it's still happening. I guess we can just look online. I don't know.
Yeah.
Easy now.
So can I quickly ask before I go on to like the next question? We can see the lunar ghost just behind you. Were you the one who made the like original design and model of the lunar ghost?
What's that? Who made it?
Yeah, of the lunar ghost.
Or was that the rap gift? Because I know the bonus feature said that
Yeah.
This
everyone.
was the rap gift. Yeah.
Oh,
There was an artist. His name was August Hall, and we built the suit. But this was the rap gift, yes. And we, it's supposed to be a killer clown. It's at the beginning of the movie. It's like, what do you do? So you spend days talking about it. Like, what could we do to make it creepy? It's supposed to be a guy in a costume, and it's supposed to be reminiscent of Scooby Doo. So we looked at a lot of the old villains from Scooby Doo and just kind of came up with this. It's got three. You can see it's got three tendrils coming out of the head. And put some claws on it, and you could totally see if the guy that's in it comes out. You could totally see it. God, what was the guy's name that was in it? He was in a famous weird movie. Oh,
Nicholas. Ooh.
look him up. The guy that was in it, he's in this really weird independent movie. It's the strangest movie. I forgot, Henry or something. It's really weird. Anyway, when I figured out he was in it, we talked about the weird movie. I can't remember the name of it though. But anyway. Yeah.
thank you. And so in the bonus features, we also saw like the gorgeous model of the spooky demons from the movie. And I guess, do you know what happened to some of the pieces from the movie, such as like the different sets and the models and all that stuff that you didn't get to like keep or take home?
We wanted to get out of. I wanted to go home, so I took, as you can see, I took some of the stuff, but some of the stuff just got trashed. Like there was a model of the cave. There was a big model that we built.
Ooh.
Cave. We had to slice it into pieces so you could hand it off to construction and say, build this 10 times bigger or 15 times bigger. So we did it in sections. That's why we built the model. Some of the props, I think, went to Warner Brothers. They have a huge warehouse in Burbank here where they keep all the stuff. So I think there's crates, kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a huge warehouse of crates filled with props. So I think a lot of stuff is there in case there's a sequel, in case we need it again. But yeah, I think that's where most of that stuff went. But a lot of stuff just got trashed. Some of the models, nobody wanted them.
Okay. And sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say sorry. Go back on the Luna Ghost guy. He was played by Nicholas Hope.
Nicholas Hope. Okay. Now let's look what his movies are. He was great, but he was in this really weird movie. If you look him up, Nicholas Hope. Sorry about this.
No,
Okay.
this is fun.
Bad Boy Bubby. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
That is the weirdest movie. If you want to watch a weird movie tonight, Bad Boy Bubby. Anyway, when I found it, he was in the Luna Ghost. All I did was talk about Bad Boy Bubby with him all day long, and no one else knew who he was. Anyway, that's a recommendation, Bad Boy Bubby. Anyway,
Perfect.
We'll definitely
I'm
keep that in
definitely going to
mind.
check it out.
yeah, it's very weird. Yes.
Digital movie night, y'all.
Absolutely.
So do you have a favorite memento that you took from the set?
Yeah, that's a good question. Nothing from the actual sets because they're so big. I had one of the cars, the cars in the ride with the clown face, but it was so big I didn't know how to ship it, so I didn't bring it home. That was one I wanted to bring, but they're just it's the design models that I bring back because they're easy to pack up. There was the Anugi Beast. I wanted to take that, but they wouldn't let me have it. Yeah, just the models. I had some weird little models that I brought back in a case. but nothing big.
That sounds amazing. And when the movie did eventually come out, did you attend like the movie premiere at all?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
They asked me to be involved in the pre-show before you go in the theater. In a parking lot outside, we built this little we had all these palm trees and stuff. So you kind of go in. It says Scooby Doo premiere, and it looks like Spooky Island. And you go in, and there's like a little maze. You kind of get lost, and then it opens up into the events. And so they asked me to help with that. That was fun. And then you go see the movie.
Wow. Like if I could like travel back in time and infiltrate any event, that may be it. But that's incredible.
I was in a parking lot, and then you go into the theater, so it wasn't that exciting. But the little tree thing was fun to make. The little entrance to Spooky Island was fun.
Of course, a primary reason why we reached out to you today, in addition to absolutely loving the movie, is to celebrate its 20th anniversary. And I just wanted to ask, what does it feel like to have worked on a movie that people love, even after all these years?
It feels great, you know. If I could inspire people the way I was inspired when I was a kid, that's why I'm doing it, you know. So it's lovely to meet you guys. You guys were inspired by it, so that means a lot to me. I don't meet people that have watched the movie very often, you know. In my social structure, not everybody goes, "Hey, I watched Scooby Doo last night." You know, it's more of an adolescent movie, but the amount of work that we put into it, and I love that people appreciate it. Sometimes I get calls from people that have just had kids and they just watched it. Hey, we just watched Scooby Doo for the first time. It's great, you know. So, but yeah, it's 20 years old, and I'm still proud of the work. You know, I was much younger then, and more innocent with my design choices, and just bold. And I had a director that let me be bold and try stuff. And we had a lot of great talented artists that really came up with some great designs. I'm happy about that.
That's amazing. And of course, you also worked on the second live action movie that came out in 2004. Did your approach change when going to that movie? Because I know kind of with the first movie, they set the theme that they wanted to make Scooby Doo, but kind of age it up a little bit to a slightly older audience. And then in the edits, they kind of wanted to bring the age back down. Going into the second movie, do you remember it being any different? Do you remember the approach being different, or the brief or anything?
Well, the location was different. You know, we didn't want to go back to Spooky Island. I think it was rewarding to me as an artist to explore the town where they live, which we shot in Vancouver, Canada, and create the look of their hideout, Mr. Inc. So it was great. It was the same team, the same director, all the actors. We partied on the beach, and now we're in Vancouver, you know, on top of rooftops having fun. But it was fun to look at Vancouver and make it Coolsville. That was the town, right? So give it its color palette, its graphics, and it was a great change of scenery for us to just show them in a different environment. You know, and I love how it starts off where you're flying and you can see the whole town where they live, and it was just great to see it in a different environment. Yeah.
And I know in the bonus features for this one, we saw that one of the scenes was based around an existing mine. And I guess on that, would you say that there was one place that you've been able to work, or a location that you've been able to work on that's inspired you the most?
Oh, that's the Britannia mine in Vancouver. It's still there. They shoot movies there all the time. I think there's a movie. There's a movie called We Are No Angels with Robert De Niro and Sean Penn that was shot there, and it's a beautiful location. I mean, it was a real mine. Everywhere you look is production value, and it was just amazing to shoot there. And we built our own version of it. There's a, you know, when you go up, it says, I can't remember what we called it. We had a name for the mine, but it was the Spooky Mine, and we created a giant gear wheel in the front and just kind of created our Scooby Doo. We sprinkled our Scooby Doo mist all over everything, but the location was done. It was great. So that was really rewarding and beautiful. If you ever get up there, Vancouver, definitely go see the Britannia Mine. It's gorgeous.
Road trip, y'all.
Yeah.
Get in there. Get in there.
So in the second film, it's very prominent of, you know, the museum and the past creatures and monsters that they have. But did you have any kind of say in the design of the costumes and like the placements or anything within the museum?
Yeah, I mean, again, we had a book on Scooby Doo. We had a style book, and we had some other books on the old monsters. There's some that you see a lot, like the ghost what is it? The skeleton with he's a space ghost or something.
Oh, the space
Coot.
coot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Space Coot.
Yeah, so that one
Yeah.
we had to do, right? So we just looked at all the ones that you remember and go, we've got to do a display. There's a pterodactyl, there's the melting guy. And it was designed to be a museum and displaying all the old costumes that come to life. But that was a fun meeting, just figuring out which 15 of them we're going to make. And we had our shop built them, put them on an armature, and just built each one of them exactly like the show. We thought that we should pay homage to the show. It should look just like the show. But that was definitely had a lot to do with that. I think we built some models of those too, just to work out some of the problems. But yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've like spent time just in like that opening scene, pausing every frame, like what monster can you see back there? But
in there, yeah.
were there actually any hidden details that you included in the sets that may have gone unnoticed in either film?
I don't think so. I don't think I was together enough back in the days to put in little Easter eggs, but I think it was just trying to capture the mood of the show and the lighting. The lighting was really important, like the skeletons going in and out of the silhouette of the windows was a fun thing to work out with Raja, the director, and the skeletons themselves. I was never happy with the skeletons. They just turned into to be this kind of comedic thing that was just kind of silly. Like, skeletons don't have tongues. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But our original designs were a little more Nightmare Before Christmassy, and I thought that was the way to go. But that was a fun sequence to do. You remember the one where they're sneaking through the windows?
Yeah.
Yeah, the darkness, the change.
Yeah, that was fun to do. I like that.
So unfortunately, there was a third Scooby Doo movie planned that ended up being cancelled. We're wondering, were you ever approached to be the production designer for this movie too? And if so, did you have any sets already mapped out or models that you wanted to make already?
I didn't. I knew they were going to do an animated Scooby Doo 3, which they did. The live action, I didn't really hear anything about that, and we started it. So I think it was just a rumor. I think they were going to wait to see if Scooby Doo 2 did well enough to warrant doing another one. But I never read a script. I never heard anything about it. And I'm sure if Raja Gosnell was the director, he would have hired me to do it. But I think it's time to do it. I'm going to call Raja right now. Let's get going on this. I want to do part 3 now.
I mean, it would be incredible. And I mean, I think Hollywood is going that way. There's so many movies around and about now that are bringing back legacy characters. Like, let's bring this person back, let's bring that person back. And I'm kind of like, please, can we get this type of love for Scooby as well?
Not only that, but like 2 years ago, Scooby re-entered cinemas for the first time since 2004 with the animated Scoob. So it's back in cinema. They can do some more things. So.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So moving on to the future, I think you basically answered this. If you were approached to do another Scooby Doo movie, would you be interested?
Absolutely. I just want it to be a good story. That's we can do creative stuff all day long, but I would love for it to be an amazing script, like something really real. I mean, I think the first 2 films were kind of for kids and it was funny and stuff. I say make it seriously scary. These guys are in a predicament. Let's get these Mr. Bean kids to solve some real problems. I'd love that. That's the movie I'd like to see. I think everyone else would too.
I think Rihanna will appreciate this reference, but I think the vibe I'm getting there is if they were to do a live action Scooby Natural. So they did an animated crossover between Scooby Doo and Supernatural, and I feel like if they were to make that as more of a live action, then you'd have been perfect to do the sets for that.
Oh man, I would love to do it. It's what I love doing. Yeah.
Ooh, can we get a live action Zombie Island with you doing the
Oh yeah,
design?
I'm gonna start on it right now. Okay. Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. So I guess kind of more on the future. Do you have any upcoming projects that you can share with us today, please?
There's a couple projects. It's a little slow in Hollywood right now because of the COVID. You know, there's something that might start in a couple weeks. It's a psychological thriller called The Blur that might happen. It's supposed to fly out in 2 weeks. Can't tell you too much about it, but it's a psychological thriller, and you know, it's more of a contemporary world. But we're going to build some sets and build in some optical illusions, so you're not sure what you're seeing. Is that a person? Is that not a person? It's blurry, whatever. So always try to get some design concepts into the sets that we built, no matter what. You know, even if it's just a regular kitchen, let's get something interesting to look at in there. You know.
Thank you so much. And I guess the final question that we've got written down today is, where can people keep up to date with your upcoming projects and ventures?
I have a website. I put my stuff on, the latest stuff's on that. It's on the email I sent you. That's pretty much I update that every time I do a movie. You know, I just did the reshoots for Red Notice. I didn't put anything in there because I wasn't the production designer. I just sort of helped with some of the sets, but I designed one set. But so that was kind of the last thing I worked on. And then I did this low budget movie in Louisiana. I haven't put anything on the website yet, but the website kind of has all the images from the movies. That's all I have
amazing
to share with the world.
That's amazing, and we will include the link to that website in the description below if anyone wants to check that out. I'll admit my favorite segment of the website is from Journey to the Mysterious Island. The sets on there were huge, like scale. They were incredible.
Those were fun to do. That was fun. It was good for me because I was like, okay, a family movie now. You know, we went to Hawaii to shoot it, and the city of Atlantis was, you know, columns and all this architecture, and we just built it in this jungle, basically, you know. And the Nautilus was great to build. The director said he wanted the Nautilus to have one eye on the front, so we built it with one triangular eye so you can look through. And we tried to make it look like a sea monster, because in the book it's described as a sea monster. So we tried, and again, there's been so many Nautiluses in different movies. I was like, let's just not do any of those. Let's try something different. So that's what we came up with. But I had a blast on that movie. That was a lot of fun.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you. And again, thank you for your time today.
Absolutely.
And for working on all these movies that are not only nostalgic for childhood, but you know, even to this day, rewatching ones from 20 years ago that we enjoy just as much. So again, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure, guys. I wonder if there's anything else. This was from Nightmare Before Christmas. It's a real prop.
Oh, wow.
Oh, beautiful.
It's a real prop from one of the sets.
Wow.
Jack's trying on his
Sandy
his
Claus
costume.
over.
Yeah.
Save that. And then this is the Ring of Fire set in Scooby Doo. This is the little maquette we built. And then from this, we built the big version. So we built a little version first. And then I just gave this to the sculptors. Here's the set.
I think if we were there in person, we wouldn't want to leave your place.
Yeah,
We want to see every little thing.
It's a museum.
Monster Hive looks amazing as well.
Look at here, definitely.
It's all incredible. Wow.
Well, that really is amazing. Thank you so much. It's amazing that you had all these props.
It's the actual prop mug from Spooky Island. For some reason I've had this forever. I'm like, I keep trying to throw it away, but yeah, I can't.
That's incredible. That is amazing. Wow. Thank you so much for setting this up and having all this stuff on, because it's just incredible to see it all. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much again for your time. I think that does it, unless anybody else did have any questions.
Not from me.
No, that's awesome. That's incredible.
Okay, well, to everybody listening, thank you so much for listening to
My
this
pleasure.
interview. There is a link to, like we said, the website and everything in the description below for you to check that out. And
Great.
yeah, subscribe to the channel for more interviews. So yeah, thank you so much for listening today.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a good evening.